So how did you get started in this business?
How did I get started in this business? Well, it was a journey. All kids and aspiring filmmakers, like, they have a start.
Hmm.
They always wanted to, like, put on plays in their house, and then, when they get into school, they want to sign up for the school play, or the theater club, the thespian club, what have you. And then in church, put on plays there. And it got to the point where, eventually I was like, okay, I think I do want to turn this into a career, because I I just had such a passion for it. And I went to, like, open casting calls and things like that. And I had a very a very narrow experience where I dodged a bullet, in so to speak, in the industry terms, where I went to one of these open casting calls, and one of these agents, they gave me the whole pitch saying, "All right, kiddo, you've got the fire, and I've got the gasoline, and you're gonna explode." And I'm just like, "Yeah, this is gonna be awesome." And he's just like, "Yeah, just it was $200 to get into this uh, workshop that they had." And
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
it was, yeah. So I'm already shelling out cash there. And then after he selected me, I don't know if you can feel the air quotes there.
Yes, I gotcha.
Yeah, he selected me to do, like, some more one-on-one training out in California. I'm from Chicago, and so he said, he gave me a list of his quotes and whatnot, and it was like basically $900 to do his class, his, like,
Oh,
yeah. And so, I'm only like, 15, 16 right now, and at that point in time. And I told my parents, I'm like, yeah, we should do this. I can become, like the next Will Smith, and it'll be great. I'm gonna, pay that off easy. And, they're kind of like looking at each other like, but I had the big old puppy dog eyes, and, they just could not stand to, like, crush my dreams. So, being the supportive parents they were, they caved. And, we turned into, like, a bit of a vacation, flew out to California. And we were having the hardest time, like, contacting this dude. He was very, like, off and on, just kind of flaky back and forth. And he
hmm.
seemed always to be in a rush on his phone. And, like, my mom is extremely mom like.
Yeah, yeah.
And, she likes to do her research, and, wants to make sure everything's going to be okay. And so she, kind of kept on the guy, because the guy wasn't giving us much detail on how this was going to go. He just said, yeah, come and take my class. It's $900. And, we weren't even sure on the location, or, he just gave us an address. And, he didn't say, like, how long it was going to be. He said it was like 5 days. And at some point we're going to, like, take a tour of the studios. And we're like, okay, that's kind of what hooked us in. It's like, okay, that'll be cool. And he's going to show us where agencies were. And so, when, like, my mom finally, like, pinned him down, like, hey, okay, so we finally got you on the phone. It is 9 o'clock at night. That, can you please, provide us with a little more detail on this? And so he's like, okay, it's fine. He's like, so how it's gonna go? You just, bring him, and, we're gonna do the class. And then it's just gonna be like a couple hours, a day. And then I can take you on a tour of the studios. And, we Googled where this address was, and it was like a residential place. And,
Mm.
and when we found it, it was just like, yeah, it was just like a house. Yeah. And the guy was, like, insisting that I need to be just, there, to learn independence, like, alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't gonna fly. And then what really sent a red flag to my parents was just, like, how he said, he was like, why do you ask so many questions? And my mom was just like, okay, this is my kid. You want my kid by yourself for hours. I want to know that it's going to be legit. But no, it was too shady. And so we canceled, and he was very apologetic, but we got our money back. And in the end, like, I ended up learning a lot more, because my cousin, who was out there at the time, knew an agency, like, knew a manager of this talent agency. And she like let me audition there and let me take a crash course at a workshop with like a legit acting coach. And like they apparently knew a lot about the guy, and they said, yeah, he's not the best kind of guy. Is what we learned. I don't know if he was like anything criminal. Like he had a legit business going on, but I don't know. He's just kind of a shisty deal. But
Well,
yeah, go ahead. I'm
from
kind of rambling.
from what we've seen recently with the outings in Hollywood, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a legitimate business, but also did things on the side, like take young men to his house and have them check to see if the rags smelled like chloroform, that kind of thing.
Right.
Uh, it's I've heard it. I've heard it a lot from other actors I've spoken to. It didn't get to a point where there was any kind of physical altercation, but there would be that preening and that grooming to get someone to that point. Even people that were above 18 would
Hmm.
experience this, and there's just it's that weird power play that happens in Hollywood,
Yeah.
which is a reason that I stayed away from. I like reporting on it. I don't want to ever be a part of it again, specifically because of that.
Yeah. Like it it's like 50-50. Like a lot of people they go in and they have pretty okay experiences, but like there's that glass ceiling, where especially me being like a black individual too, like it doesn't stop, once you reach that once you make it, like it gets even more interesting as you go into the industry, as you start to break more boundaries. Like you're tested on various levels of your grit and your capacity in social circles and whatnot. And like some hot shots will just come by, and they'll make a pass at you, and it's like, whoa. It's like, is that okay? And people just like they're looking at you like, no, don't say anything. Like, don't. It's like, yeah, because that person can single-handedly end your career. And it's just like, what? So I'm supposed to be okay with this and just accept it? And like it's wild. It's interesting.
Uh,
But
Hopefully that's coming to an end soon, but with how big Hollywood is, it's going to take something even more major than the Me Too movement to see that whole power struggle between CEOs and casting directors and all those people finally come to an end.
yeah,
At least the ball is rolling now.
yeah, and like again, there's like groups, people that kind of uh, get together, collaborate. I mean, there's unions like SAG and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, which I am part of, that it makes it like less of a thing.
Hmm.
Because people see that, and they'll in well knowingly, like of course you see it happening, like you have proof.
Hmm.
It's a clear cut thing that it did happen, and there are people that see it happening and they get together, and you know it gets worked out.
Hmm.
uh but yeah, like that was like a bullet dodge for sure in my experience. And after that had happened, like I mean, I don't know if the guy was like that, but it was starting to look kind of risky. So we
Hmm.
got out of that. And the agency that I ended up seeing, they said that they would like to work with me. They would like to start sending me on auditions, but I would need to take residency in California. And so from there, I was like, okay, got to put this on hold for now. And I went back to Chicago, and I decided to go into film studies. And I went to Columbia, and I was there for a few years building up a portfolio, took some voice acting classes. Uh, one of my mentors ended up showing my reel to her agent, and they in turn became my agent. And
Nice.
yeah, and then around the same time, I learned about auditions for at the time it was called That Guy with the Glasses,
Hmm.
that they were spawning a new show. I'm like, oh, that guy with the glasses, what is that? And they're like, oh, the nostalgia critic. I was like, really? I'm like, that guy's still a thing? Because I had lost track of his videos because YouTube was just ripping them down, and I didn't know they had, spawned their own website. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And um, so I smacked together a quick reel of stuff that I had done in Colombia, and I was up until like 5 a.m. Because YouTube was giving me a hard time uploading my format file. And I finally got it up there. I emailed them saying, hey, please look at my thing because I know you guys had a deadline. And it was actually Doug's brother's wife that saw my submission. I keep confusing the story. Like, they knew the email was there, but like um, Rob's wife like kind of urged them to look at it, saying, hey, you need to look at this guy's thing. Like, he's funny. And so they did. And I got a call back, and the rest is cinematic history. Because, yeah, I don't know. Like, apparently they really liked the chemistry that we had in the in-person audition.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, it was just like a natural synergy that we all had. So I mean that's the abridged version of how everything went. Like, again, like there were tons of like short films that I've done and classes that I taken and coursework and like lots of knocking on doors and rejection and things like that. And it continues to this day. Even now that I have an agent, it's like I'll do audition after audition after audition, and you don't land every single one. You'll do like 20 auditions and maybe you'll land one before one that actually hires you.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to hear the tales of rejection, and like some of my actor friends will talk on and off, and then they'll say like they had like a really good audition or they had like a terrible audition, and then like a couple weeks later, like all of a sudden they're appearing in like a Home Depot commercial as the lead. I'm like, wow, wow. Why didn't
Yeah,
you
yeah.
tell me that you landed something that good? Because it was the way it was presented. His name's Taylor, and
Okay.
he started sewing the story in the commercial of him. He's a grill master, and he picks these grills, and he does this and this and this. I was like, wow, that is not you at all, but you were selling it so well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Acting.
It's so I can't. My wife and I were on an A&E show a few years ago, and they told
Sweet.
us to be ourselves, but even trying to act like ourselves on camera, it's so disingenuous.
Yeah,
It's
because it's like it's you, but it's not you
yeah,
because while you're delivering something, you're trying to do it convincingly, and you got a director that's like moving your body and telling you where to stand, and it very quickly becomes unnatural.
yeah.
So so you have to basically like you know I don't know, like I don't know if swearing's okay on your
Oh
show.
yeah, yeah. You're fine.
Yeah,
Don't
you
worry about it.
basically had to mind fuck yourself into being in this thing in this moment. It's like, okay, this is the spot where I'm walking. Okay, I got to make it look like I do this all the time somehow. Yeah.
Even
um
even doing it for reality television, there's no
oh
there's
yeah.
there's no way to fake it. You have to do it because I'm
what
generally goofy
what
as it
show?
is, and
Yeah.
I can't pull it off when you put a camera in front of me and you have 10 people surrounding me. I can't do it. That's why I write and I don't act because I just can't do it.
I mean, yeah, everyone's got a different capacity for it. Well, like what show was it?
It was Fix This Yard on A&E. 2013. We were the last episode of the last season.
Wow, okay.
So
Nice. I'm gonna have to like look that one up. I've heard of those
if you can
shows.
find it, that's
Yeah, that's
even
true.
the official link to it's down, but it's on my IMDb with everything else that I've done. But it's just yeah, you can't find it. I've got like a CD copy of it, and I'm waiting for my NDA to finally run out so I can cut it up and put like a best of just my bits on my YouTube page.
Yes. Oh man. I mean, it's always fun when you get to like, showcase stuff that you've been in on, primetime television and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the real work, as they call it, which brings me back to like, the new media, as they call it, the internet. It's it's becoming a real thing. It is a real thing, because people are getting together, making these projects, and able to showcase them, and in turn make a living off of it. Like it has become a viable source of entertainment as well as a means to make ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fascinating. And like aside from doing auditions with like my agent, and being on Nostalgia Critic, there's other projects that I do, like a lot of freelance work on the internet that is wonderful. It is really cool. Right now, I'm working on a video game called Bulletville. Uh, their Twitter handle is like at NOWWA. I forgot what the acronym stands for, but they're a game developing company, and Bulletville is basically like a combination. If you take Overwatch and mash it with like Borderlands, it's like an action adventure platformer sort of deal. And I play like this cybernetic ninja warrior dude. He's kind of like the Genji of their game, but he's called KA05, which looks like leaked speak for chaos.
Mm.
Yeah, and he's one of those brooding types. The game looks really good. They're giving it the Unity treatment, like AAA look. It looks great.
Mm-hmm. Is that the artwork that you had on your Twitter? I think it was last week. I saw it pop up of the character model sheet.
Oh, the character model sheet. That is actually another project.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that is by Wicked Suit Productions, the crew that does DC Abridged, where abridging, where they redub shows and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
DC Abridged, they redub like, DC animated stuff. The guys that did that I'm now part of, they got together and decided to create their own original company where they want to start dubbing like animated stuff. And the guy Luis Chavez, he created a series called Frontier Zero, which is essentially like it's a space western. Like if you take it's like Guardians of the Galaxy and mix it with Archer, it's kind of done in that's the spirit of Archer. Like it's pretty interesting. Like the first episode is already out, and the second one is coming out soon. But we've got like a comic that's being written in tandem with the series,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really cool. I like it. I play this engineer on the ship. He goes by the name of Leo. He is a tiger, of course, of course, and uh, he's known as a Zubian. That's what Louis Chavez wrote his species out like as these. Like they started out as these animals like years ago, but they had their genetic makeup mixed with other anthropomorphic species in the universe that makes them like human-like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he was developed. And so Zubians, like they can come in the form of like dogs, wolves, tigers, lions, bears. Oh my, all these other different species, and like it's a struggle for them. Like it's a social struggle for them because they want to be accepted as more than what their genetic base was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting how it spawned like that because Lewis was so gracious to us. He let us help design our own characters that we would portray, and and that's kind of how he ended up being a tiger. But Lewis had to write a reason for him to being a tiger, and so I was like, okay, that's cool.
So you put extra work on his hands so you can get your dream.
Pretty much. But that's our dance. Me and Lewis, he's a great guy. He works so hard. Like he's from Venezuela, and he's working hard to get his residency, his citizenship here in the U.S., so he can, pursue things like this. And I support him in any way I can. He's an incredible guy.
As far as the difference between acting in front of the camera and voice acting, which one is the more strenuous of the two?
Man, that is that's a hard question to answer, to be honest, because a lot of people, they assume that, oh, voice acting, I don't have to be on camera. I can just come up to the mic and say lines, and suddenly it will, be conveyed that I am performing. It's like it's not that simple. Like, arguably, being in front of the mic is just as daunting as being in front of camera. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of instances, you're not going to need to like do elaborate action scenes and like jump and dodge bullets and slide under trucks and things like that. But I mean, you're still giving a performance. You need to feel that moment. You need to grit your teeth and make facial expressions to really get across the emotion that the character is feeling. you know um because part of voice acting is being able to change your voice and make goofy sound effects and that sort of thing like that. um but you also want to convey emotion, because that's the acting part of voice acting. You want to be able to um portray what emotions the character is feeling, but you also want to be able to mold your voice to make it sound like the character as well. It gets pretty complicated. um yeah, it's interesting. Man, like being in front of the camera and behind the mic, uh it's interesting that I have that perspective, like from both angles. I never thought about that. Like, which one is harder? um yeah, I don't know. Hmm I gotta say, voice acting is a little bit harder, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot easier, at least for me, being like there in person. Like, you're there, like you're using your body to interact with other actors that are present, or not even necessarily present, but you're there in the moment, and you can convey emotions using your facial expressions, and using body language and things like that to get your message across. You have a lot more tools to convey things, whereas when you're behind a mic, you only have the voice. you,
Mm-hmm.
you only have the voice, and you got to sell it. You got to sell everything using only your voice, because while you are making motions and limited motions and facial expressions, no one's going to see that, but it's going to all get channeled through your voice. It becomes very technical at that point.
Do you have any sort of preparation that you do, either for being on in front of the camera or being behind the mic, to get you into that um,
That
what
headspace.
in that headspace? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. It's like foreplay, or in the bedroom. You gotta be able to like get yourself in that zone.
I'm
Because
married. I wouldn't know.
oh. But I mean, yeah, it is like that. Like, you gotta kind of like, it depends on what role you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, just know like the tells of the character, their motivations, things like that. And you for that specific character, like I'll warm up, I'll talk in that character's voice, just read the lines. And there are like vocal warm-ups you can do. Um, like literally like doing phonetic exercises, like saying fa 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 the da 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 da, and like conjunction syllables that tie into those. They call them diphthongs, like the, or ja, or cha. So like cha, chu, cha, chi, uh, thu, tha, thu, thee, zhu, zhu, zha, zhu, ji, and so on and so forth, just to kind of warm up your articulators. That's the technical term, as it's called. You warm up your articulators, and from there you're good to go. It sounds pretentious, when you first hear it, but it helps. It really helps. Um, for a lot of actors, especially starting out. It gets you warmed up.
Uh, when you're when you're thinking about your future career, do you see yourself moving to California or any of the other hot spots for film right now, like Vancouver or Louisiana or Georgia, or if
Oh
we ever get our
man.
tax breaks back, Florida?
Oh man, I want to be able to work in any of those areas cuz uh California for one, like Burbank, oh my god, that's the voice acting hub.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where all the animation studios are. That's where all the game developers are here in the US. And uh you know, I want to be able to be there. I've got a lot of friends that live out there, and they tell me, "Hey, dude, you can come and crash with us if you want to, give it a shot, out here." And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." And then there's like a lot of anime in Texas, like Dallas. There's
Mm-hmm.
uh, man, it's Funimation, Okratron, now Team Four Stars out there. They've got a legit dubbing studio. Like they're not just doing abridged stuff anymore. They are legit. They're like a legit dub company now, and it's insane. And they like again, they say, "Hey, come on down here, man." Like it's just like if you want to do a character, just come on down. And I'm like, man, like I want to do it. But it's like right now I am currently in the midst of doing things here. Like I was fortunate enough to just kind of be at the right place at the right time. I've got my agent here, Stuart Talent, and then of course Nostalgia Critic Channel Awesome is here, and it's working out so far so good. I think if I want to broaden my horizons, I think I will have to relocate at some point, at least for a short amount of time, just so I can see what the field is like in other cities. Because again, I'm really fortunate that I'm with Stewart Talent because they do have agencies elsewhere. Like they've got an office in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and they've got an office out in New York as well. And then they've got like sister agencies that they kind of correspond with in like LA and whatnot. And so it's like, okay, I've got options open to me. Um, I just need to bulk up my portfolio because it's like, while you might be somebody in one city, if you've never been to another city and you go out there and try to start work, it's kind of like starting all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're moving into an entirely different pond in a different environment.
If let's see, trying to get my train of thought back together again.
Yeah, sorry.
This late at night. No, it's all right. It's just filmed a wedding yesterday and spent all day today editing it, so I'm kind of burnt out from
Oh,
waiting for Adobe Premiere to finally render something.
oh man, no worries, dude.
And then when it comes out and there's an error in it, you're like, wow, that was 7 hours just lost.
Oh, jeez.
um, if would you prefer being on screen more than doing voice acting, or would you rather do both all the way through your career?
Ooh, I would ideally I want to be able to do both throughout my
Mm-hmm.
career because my heart and soul goes into voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
While I love being on screen and whatnot, I think that's cool as well. But like being able to like breathe life into like an animated character, that there's just something magical about that. There's this sense of wonder and it's cool. Like I grew up watching like the Disney cartoons and the Looney Tunes cartoons, and I was just fascinated. It always floored me up until this day, and I think that's something that's stuck with me since childhood. And when I found out like that people do this as their job,
Mm-hmm.
to make a living, I'm like, holy crap! I want that job. I want to be able to do that. And the moment I even had that opportunity for an indie project, it was like a dream come true. It gives me life. It gives me life. Uh,
have you have you had any roles that have been particularly taxing emotionally?
Oh, let's see, emotionally, like,
Like, just kind of drained you when you were done, just because it took so much out of you.
ooh, let me see. I'm trying to think. Hmm. Oh man, I'm gonna kick myself later. uh, geez. Um, well, I played the role of Valen. He's kind of this pirate. He's a pirate type. He's this elven pirate. He's like this big blue muscular pirate guy. And man, that was a bit of a strain. Okay, I'm not gonna do that again. He is like very ferocious and very flamboyant and very just full of energy and life. And I had to maintain that voice and like channel all of like this charisma and like this lofty storytelling. And then I had to do like his battle prompts. Uh, Valen is a character in this game, this RPG called Regalia of Men and Monarchs. And it's like an RPG, but of course they have their prompts, especially when they go into battle, and they're like, ha, 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 that sort of deal. Whenever it's like a fighty thing, that really it's a workout. It is a legit workout because you are you got to sell it. You got to sell these screams and you know the exertion noises
Hmm.
and yeah, and then it did get emotional at some points. Like one of his friends are like on the brink of dying, and he's like trying to encourage them to get up. So yeah, after that session, I was like wiped out. I'm like, whew, like that was my first like legit dramatic voice acting role. I mean, aside from like doing stuff like in a bridge series like DC Abridged, but that's more comedic. Like this was like a a role where I had to like get kind of serious and emotional and um yeah, it really took it out of me.
Do you see yourself branching out into other areas of entertainment, like producing or directing any of your own stuff?
Oh, well, I I've had a dream for a while where eventually I do want to kind of have my own production company and
Hmm.
I want to produce films because I do have a passion for film and I want to create like action comedies like in the vein of like Rush Hour, because Jackie Chan is one of my idols. Like I love martial arts and to mix it in with comedy, I think it's a brilliant thing. Um, and I am a fan of horror as well. So if I could somehow fuse those three genres, I'd be like, that would be amazing. That'd be a dream come true to work on a script like that.
So you do have a specific passion project that you'd like to get off the ground at some point.
Yeah, at some point, like that would be a little ways down the line. I mean, I guess I could start now, but I'm still like trying to build myself up
Hmm.
mainly as like an actor, and I do want to start like a short video series because the producers over at Channel Awesome like they're like Malcolm like make something we know you got it in you and I'm like yeah I have a few ideas but I want to take my time with it because I don't want to just start up something just to start up something.
Hmm.
I Whenever I set out to do something I want to make sure that I have a passion for it.
Oh yeah.
That's always been my thing. Like even before I started, like, am I just doing this just to do it, or am I like, do I care about it? you know?
It's tough to fake it. I've Even though my channel is small compared to the website that I produce for, it's when I try to like do something and I can't just give it my all, I can tell that the product is just crap. I need to
Oh,
be emotionally invested in it. That's why I prefer to do interviews because I'm more interested in the people that create than creating myself.
mm.
So I prefer to explore their stories and let them have a voice than for me to sit in front of a camera and do goofy shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's like an important aspect of entertainment. You got to do it because you like it, because you want it, you know, because people are going to be able to tell if you're not into it. And you know,
Yeah,
it,
I see a lot of pages with millions of subscribers for people that just do not care.
yeah. And it's like, huh. It's like, is this what
What
you?
is it about this person that everyone wants to watch when I could tell they don't care?
Yeah, they're just like, meh.
I don't have the right body for it, I guess. I mean, like looking like a footballer just does not cut it. I should have gotten some implants in a specific spot
Oh,
and just be on Twitch 24 hours a day just showing those things off and I would
right.
have made millions by now.
There you go. Just got to get a nice cut of
Yeah.
cleavage.
Yeah, I tried talking my wife into that and she wasn't all for it. It was like just something just to see if it works. We'll test it out on this one video and it did not work.
Oh, oh man, streaming is like a whole other monster. That's like a completely different animal.
And
Uh,
it seems to be where it's going right now as far as digital media is concerned, but I don't get the draw for it. I prefer original content instead of just watching someone sit in front of a computer and play a game.
right? Yeah,
There's nothing creative about it. There's no passion to it.
that's true. This is true. Again, it's that intrigue with live reality, you know, quote unquote reality TV. It's that's what that's kind of mirroring. You know, it's showing like these people in real situations. They're in the moment, and that's exciting and thrilling to people.
I'm just gonna turn the camera on in my kitchen and just let it go and see or on my fish tank.
Right. But
Just like
we
wow, look at that man. Those the drama associated with those fish is just amazing. Now where's my deal?
I guarantee you would get like a bajillion hits on that.
I know
Cause
that would be the most disheartening thing.
right. Cause we made fun of that like on Orbit Report, Heather and Ayana, they kind of like just made fun of that aspect of what people will watch as opposed to like they they just had like a listing that said women with opinions or Jim eats, and it's just our production designer Jim. He's just sitting there eating like a Nutri-Grain bar, and they're they're just showing like views going up and up and up. And it's just Jim with like the most mundane look on his face, and he's just leaning against the counter in our break room, and he's just eating it as like disdainfully as possible. But Jim's great. Like honestly, Jim Eats would be a hit if I had to be honest.
Oh, Brad gets plenty of hits when he does his Brad try. So I mean,
That's true.
but we tried that with some Pro Yo ice cream and just got 10 views in 3 months.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess it all depends on like the circumstance. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to have it.
the it.
Someone like you have the it, you have the look, you have the voice, and
Hey man, you
that
gotta.
opens up so many doors.
It's
That
true. It's true. Like you've got something that kind of like draws people in.
mhm. When I've sat in some acting classes before, funny oddly enough, I'll say it's funny, but it's funny for the wrong reason. It was about 6 months before the Me Too movement started,
Hmm.
and I went in to this acting class that a few of my friends go to, and I wanted to interview some of them about their acting method. And the acting teacher was such a bitch that
Oh
she
yeah.
kept asking me why I was there. I was like, I came in. My friend invited me to sit in, and I was going to interview a couple people after the class was over. It's like, well, what are you going to interview them about? Well, I was going to talk about acting method and any of the problems that are associated with acting, like harassment of the casting couch or anything like that. And she's like, "There's no such thing as sexual harassment in the entertainment industry."
Oh,
I was
really?
like, "Really?" And then
No.
6 months later, the whole Weinstein thing happened. I was like, "Wow,
That
you're
is
a horrible person."
that's cathartic. It's
I felt so good because I left that place feeling like shit, like I didn't know what I was talking about as a journalist, and then have that vindication in the very worst way.
Yeah.
for it to all come true and to be like, oh, I feel bad, but I also feel kind of good that this happened.
Right, right. It's like the worst kind of catharsis. It's like, okay, so I was right.
But so many people suffered, so I could be right.
Right. It's like, oh no. But yeah, speaking of it, you do got a great voice, dude. Like your voice is great for this kind of medium.
Oh, thank you. It's at late at night. It's a lot better than it is during the day.
Oh, oh yeah, you got that texture and the grogginess to it.
Yeah,
It's great.
a full day of dealing with a 3 year old is kind of does that to you.
Oh, hey, and if you look anything like your illustrated character here, hey, you got it going for yourself, dude.
Yeah, those are pretty spot on. Juliana Uyong, who's a graphic designer out of California, did those for me and my wife as a present. So yeah,
Wow.
we just sent her a couple photos, and she just did them spot on with very little changes. Like, wow, I really do look like a smug asshole.
It's
It's
a
like that's so perfect because that's what I am.
it's a good look, dude.
I can't do the whole acting thing anymore because it's just it's too tough, and I like living in Florida, and
Hmm.
I don't want to move to California. I did it for a very short amount of time, and just how much you have to work yourself to death. I
Oh yeah.
I just can't do it.
Hmm.
I'm not that passionate enough about being famous.
Oh,
I just
I feel
I
you.
prefer working behind the scenes.
I feel you on that. Um, it's an interesting thing. Like I don't know. Like people ask me, like, why do you want to be like an actor? Like looking at the statistics, like it is like the most, like the to knowingly, willingly chosen this as a career. It's like the most not smart thing to do. But it's like, yeah, you got to have like a love for it. You got to have a passion for it. And I do. I just like love it. I love being able to like portray all these different characters and, you know, like just entertain and, put a smile on people's face and things like that. Like the whole fame, like people that are going into it like saying, yeah, I'm going to be famous, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm going to be rich. Like, that is like the not right attitude to have going into it because you will be met with some disappointment like 9 times out of 10.
You're gonna end up working at Starbucks somewhere on Rodeo Drive,
Yeah,
or living out of a tent because you don't have that.
that
You're not driven in the right way.
right. You got to just like, oh man, it's interesting. You got to just want it. You just got to be like willing to have those like 12-hour days, on
Mm-hmm.
some indie project, and you're like wrapped up in a blanket in between takes. Like I've been on projects like that. It really it's something else. Like you look back and you're like, man, yeah, I did that. Wow, that was
I've
crazy. I was
yeah,
crazy.
I've seen some suffering that people have gone through. When I was uh, out in Atlanta a couple months ago, CBS brought me out there to cover a film that's coming out this October called Hellfest, and I didn't check the weather before I left, and it was 30 degrees at 9 o'clock at night. So I'm there. I always wear shorts and a t-shirt because that's I live in Florida.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm freezing, and then I'm just watching all these people just working and working, and the actors and actresses just wearing just normal clothes and just still giving it their all, even though I know they have to be frozen solid.
Yeah. Yep.
And taking it all serious, even though it's a horror movie, and generally those are not the most serious of things.
Hmm.
Just just watching these performances and going, wow, you are actors.
Mm.
There's
Hmm.
no bones about it. There's no phoning it in. You love your craft, because otherwise I would have said screw this.
I would like, fuck this. It's like I'm out. Get me a coffee.
I, what I love about this business is I don't get paid for anything I
Hmm.
do. I do this for free because I've got a normal job during the week. So
Hmm.
I have the luxury of just doing this as a passion project, which is why it's still my passion
Yeah,
project,
and
because I don't have to stress about am I going to be able to pay my bills.
right. You do this because you love it, and that's like the most important part about it. Because unfortunately, like in the newer, generation of the internet wave of media, new media, a lot of people, they think that they can just go right into it and immediately start making money. It's like, no, you gotta like, sometimes you gotta take like that, that retail job. You gotta take that Walmart job. You gotta take that Starbucks job. You gotta be a barista for about 6 hours a day sometimes, or supplement that with like a another major or a minor that you want in, like just to, you know, another interest that you need to kind of supplement this career basically. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that, and they become like very jaded and angry, and next thing you know, they're just like want to like march in the streets about it. And it's just like, what are you doing? It's like, you know, if it's your passion, like it'll come in due time, and sometimes it won't. But if it's something you love, like the success will follow. It's never immediate. I mean, if it is, like that's a miracle. It's miraculous when that happens. Uh,
Yeah, you don't hear about that too often.
right.
Um,
And even
I think.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Uh, an actress I interviewed that's on This Is Us, Isabella Marcus. When I talked to her, she just happened to luck into getting on that NBC show, even though she hadn't done a whole lot before, just because she was in the right place at the right time for the right audition. Otherwise, she would still be just traveling back and forth between Texas and LA,
Hmm.
just doing auditions here and there without actually getting that lucking into that audition that she was so good in. I mean, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw.
It is. Yeah, a lot of this is a lot of luck. And, when people see these overnight success stories, they're not really overnight. You got to, look into the history of that person, and you see them like, going through audition after audition after audition and countless rejections and, just, pounding the concrete and, working at, Target, Walmart, what have you, at a call center, like years of that. Like I did retail for like 10 plus years before I even got to like this point in my career, which is,
Hmm.
I'm thankful to have what I have, but man, it's been rough, and it continues to be like a battle. I'm not quite where I want to be just yet, but
Hmm.
um, I'm still working towards it because, I believe in it. It's what I love.
Well, due to new media, you have that luxury of having a following on social media where you can have your stuff seen so readily,
Yeah.
and also Channel Awesome was also a huge outlet to showcase your talent.
Oh yeah.
So
They're
it's
they're truly awesome. Go ahead.
it's it's not like it was before where you had a limited avenue of how you got your stuff shown, or having to take around a VHS tape like I know some of my friends long time ago used to have to do, take it around to a producer's office and just hope they had a VCR set up to show off their stuff
Oh
because that
man.
was the only means of doing it.
Yep.
But luckily the internet has provided such a fantastic tool for actors
Yeah.
or any creative type.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's streamlined everything. You can upload audio and video and just post it on the site, and then you have your business cards and you just hand them out and be like, yeah, just punch in that address or go to that link, click that link. There's my Twitter, there's my Facebook, there's my Instagram. Click on that link. It's crazy. Like self promotion has never been easier, and
Mm-hmm.
having a presence on social media, it just sets you a step above the rest. If you don't have that nowadays, it's like, what are you doing? you know.
One of the last few things I wanted to touch on, when I interviewed Allison Pregler, I talked to her about being woman on the internet and the pitfalls that come with that.
Hmm.
Being black on the internet, what
Hmm.
what kind of issues have you seen that come from that horrible thing known as anonymity on the internet when they kind of focus in on you? Have you had any sort of, I don't know, toxicity thrown your way simply because of the color of your skin?
Well, yeah. I mean, there are trolls, but trolls are trolls. They'll throw you that racist comment here and there, but I mean, you'll also get just more passive racism. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
overt or maybe not even intentional. It's just out of sheer ignorance where they assume that you are going to behave a certain way or you're going to be a certain way and they're surprised that when you're not a certain way. Like there was this incredible comment on like I do sometimes I cross over with Tamara and her videos on Tamara's Never Seen,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just doing a little bit of commentary with her, and one of the comments, I know like we swore off to never read the comments, but I I'm addicted and I want to see what they're saying about me because I'm a vain actor. And and so I saw the comment, the dude was like, is Malcolm one of those queermosexuals? Usually I'm afraid of black guys, but something about him just doesn't intimidate me. I think he might be gay. And I was like, I said something along the lines of like, I conceal my horrible blackness just to make you feel comfortable. That's how I got this job. I said that, just to troll him. And he was super like apologetic, like, oh, I'm glad you could take this as a joke. He's like, that's just my, sense of humor. But the comment section devoured him alive. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what you get, dude. Like, I'm like, what a comment to make. I wasn't mad. I honestly thought it was funny, but when you say stuff like that, you're kind of opening yourself to be attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So there's so basically it's what you would expect from the internet.
yeah, pretty.
There's nothing that's really been horrible to the point where you've rethought your career.
Mm, no, no. Like I don't know. Like I haven't quite gotten to that point just yet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I have been given like typecast roles where I'm supposed to sound like this all the time, and you know like I'm supposed to add that swagger in my voice, and I'm supposed to sound a specific way, like I'm talking to one of my boys. That's literally what one of my white middle-aged agents said to me via email. They said, sound like you're talking to one of your boys. I'm just like, okay, I can do that. But
Was that just the PC way of saying I want you to sound ghetto?
yeah, exactly. No, that is a term. Like the terminology in the acting world is more urban, or yeah, exactly. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and it's something that I've come to accept because as long as it's not something that I'm constantly like getting, like it's the only thing I can do. Because
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that I have a range, that I can portray different things,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I have. Uh, then it shows that you have respect for your talent, your representation. Like you acknowledge what their skill sets are, and it's approached in a very diplomatic way. So I haven't had anything particularly harrowing, but again, it's just like internet ignorance exists. So I'm not like gonna like scream from the mountaintops because I've had way worse experiences in life than what
Mm-hmm.
any internet comment can make. Like
Mm-hmm.
as being a black male in the US, like I've had people follow me around stores. I've had like police like try to intimidate me, and it's like I've been there, done that. So like any comment that comes up on the internet is just like okay, cool, I can say something quippy too. All right, I can be plucky. Let's get plucky.
Typecasting, I can understand how that can be kind of a hindrance to morale. Um, I've been on some of the things that people wanted me to be in. It's always exactly the same, just because of my size and the fact that I'm bald and I just look mean. They're always like, "We want you to play a mean character. We want you to audition
Like a
for
bouncer.
the heavy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always bouncer or the heavy or the goon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Really,
it's
I'm an engineer, I'm a painter, and I'm an artist.
wow, that's
I
so cool.
I've never been a bouncer. I've never I cannot do these things because I don't have the experience in them. Can you give me something else?
Right.
Otherwise, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I wouldn't want to be like, again, I like me simply by being black, I would be probably put in one of those roles too. And I'm not even that big of a dude, you know? Like yeah, so I feel your pain. I feel your pain, man.
Careful, black man here. We
Yeah,
have to give him this certain role.
he's tough. Right.
Violence needs to surround this person simply because they are this color.
I'm gonna have like a basketball and a gun in the other hand, like in each hand, just like dribbling and looking menacing with the gun. See, I can make fun of it too. It's just like because it's the most ridiculous thing.
Hmm. It's like when Dexter came out and it was set in Miami. It was the least Miami looking cast of characters I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
It's like, wow, there's not a whole lot of Haitians. There's not a whole lot of real Cubans. There's certainly no Puerto Ricans. What the
It's like,
fuck?
where are we?
This is the whitest part of Miami I've ever seen.
Yeah, like, and a lot of people miss that detail. They don't get it. The world has more than one type of person in it.
Yeah, it's like when you see anything that's filmed in L.A. and it's just all beautiful white people.
Mhm.
Like,
It's like,
do you know your own demographic?
yeah, yeah, we are clearly not in the barrios, even though you said we're in the barrios. Or like, geez, like Friends. It's like Friends only has white people. Like it's weird. New York is just white, apparently.
That that's why I was so glad when Spider-Man: Homecoming came out. I was like, wow, it's a representation of New York that
Oh
you
my,
rarely ever see.
oh man, that was amazing. I was like, holy crap, this is great. I'm like,
It's like I'm watching Kids again from what was that, '94?
oh, kids.
Like wow, and yeah, Kids. It was a independent movie.
Oh, hmm.
Yeah, I think it was '93 or '94. It's a very harsh look at youth in New York. Very violent, pretty graphic. It deals with a kid named Tully who has HIV. He doesn't know he has HIV, but he's transmitting it to all these other underage girls that he's sleeping
Oh
with.
no.
And half of the movie is his ex-girlfriend trying to find him to tell him that he is positive. And at the end of it, he's screwing another girl. His ex passes out, and this guy just comes up and just rapes her while she's passed out. Now he's infected too. So it's just like, wow,
Whoa.
this is
That
dark,
is so dark.
and it's got a very young Dawson in it, and
Wow.
just it's one of those great independent features that you don't see too often because it is so harsh and so hard to watch.
Yeah, but it addresses a very real issue.
Hmm. And it's as relevant today as it was 20 something years
Oh
ago.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
even now, I have a hard time watching because it's so tough. It's like watching any movie that has to deal with abuse in general, or anything that has to deal with abuse of children. Now that I have a daughter, it's really
Oh
tough.
man.
Like I know that my emotional stance on movies would change after being in this industry so long. I'd be like, wow, I can't watch anything that has to do with kids getting hurt
Oh no.
at all. It's just like it like stabs you right in the heart. Like I can't do it.
Yeah. So did you see it then?
I watched. We actually just rented it
The
yesterday.
new it?
Yeah,
How did
I
you how did you manage with that?
it didn't bother me as much because I've read the book
Yeah.
several times. I just finished it again last year. Um, it's seeing it on screen the way it was portrayed wasn't too bad because it's not as graphic as it was in the book.
Well, yeah.
Reading it, you can form that picture in your mind a lot better,
Right, like
so you can kind of self censor it even though you're reading the worms. Like Georgie's arm gets ripped off, or
right in the tent.
Patrick Hochstetter's getting his eyeball sucked out by a flying leech, that kind of thing. Just like I I can censor it, but still read the words and get through the gist of the story. But yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
It's like
I spent most of the time just ranting to my wife about how it wasn't following along for me.
yeah, I mean, adaptations. They
Yeah, unless you're gonna make it like a 5 season long mini series, you're not gonna do it justice. But
Yeah, not. I don't know. Like, I liked Tim Curry's clown, but
hmm
man, like it's hard for me to decide which one I prefer. Like the movie's just a little more concise, like the recent one. Like it just has a beginning, middle, and end. And now they got to do a sequel, obviously, because that wasn't the whole book.
hmm
But yeah, I don't know. It was hard getting through that miniseries. The oh
yeah, and Jonathan Brandis was really good in it. I thought he made a better stuttering Bill.
oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
and just because that kid was so earnest. It's tragic that what happened, but he in all his performances, I never felt like he was phoning it in.
hmm
I always felt like he was trying. He just wasn't that. He wasn't that face that Hollywood needed at the time.
yeah. Damn,
God, this took a dark turn.
it did, it did. But
But there was in the 2017's it. There was a lot in the background that I was noticing that made me glad that they were paying homage to the book. Like they mentioned the massacre, the shooting massacre, and the fire at the black spot was referenced a few times, and the explosion at the Kitchener Iron Works was in there. So I was glad that they were at least acknowledging these events that happened that took pretty good chunks of the book up.
mhm.
But yeah, it's just I'm I like my adaptations really literal.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But yeah, what are you gonna do? It's I didn't make the movie. I was kind of mad that I had a chance to go out to the set, but it was like I had a week's notice and I hadn't renewed my passport yet, and it was in I don't think it was Vancouver. I think it might have been in Montreal. But yeah, I just couldn't get the chance to go.
Oh,
But then I got it, and I was able to go to Altered Carbon and Lost in Space, so I was pretty
oh,
happy.
sweet. Yeah, nice.
So as far as what you have coming up, what other projects are you working on now?
Okay, aside from like NC or
Yeah.
yeah, like I mentioned before, yeah, Bulletville is coming up. Frontier Zero is ongoing. Um, oh, there's this motion comic called Black Sands, formerly known as Kids to Kings, and it's like this Pan-African story like about these Egyptian lineages, like these like a new like these Nubian and Egyptian kingdoms, and just like about these kids and their rise to the throne. Like it, they all have like powers and whatnot. Like their ancestors were god killers. Like they fought against like these oppressive deities that
hmm
kind of kept humanity under like this oppressive rule, and they're developing their abilities so that they can maintain peace in the lands. And it's very much Naruto, Dragon Ball Z like, but black, and I'm okay with that. It's really cool. The guy that created it, his name is Manuel. I feel like I'm not saying his name right, but it's Godoy, Godoy, Manuel
Oh
Godoy.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He works very hard. Apparently he like approached like some producers with the script, like, and like they wanted to change a lot about it because they felt it was historically inaccurate. And it's just like, what does that mean? These are like super powered kids. Okay. Dragon Ball Z is not exactly historically accurate. Naruto isn't historically accurate. Marvel Thor isn't it historically, like you get what I'm saying? So
You have to take some license in order to tell a good story.
exactly. You gotta, and people have to like suspend their disbelief. That's what entertainment movie making is about. Unless you're making like a biopic, like there's no point in trying to be historically accurate, quote unquote, which can be very much debatable even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story about these superpowered beings that are like developing their abilities to fight against gods. Okay, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want?
I'm sorry, you lost me there. I don't understand. How can we market this again?
Like, how can we market this? You know what? We need to get back to that script about a man that dresses up as a bat fighting the super powered alien from outer space. Let's get back on that. See how that turns out.
We can't take any risks here. It's too much of a hot
Right.
topic.
That's going to sell, though. Batman versus Superman was awful.
Yeah, I watched the yeah. Oh man, that was very disappointing.
Yeah.
My wife is very she doesn't mince words when it comes to movies we watch because she's had to sit through a number of screeners that come my way, so she has to sit through some terrible cinema sometimes. So when it comes to like a major motion picture that is just utter crap, it's like I don't have time for this. We're never watching that again.
Oh.
I said the same thing about The Last Jedi. I said I'm never gonna watch it. That's it. That's just not gonna happen.
Oh, Last Jedi? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm as a kid that grew up with nothing but Star Wars to get me through my childhood and being bullied. That was my out. And so when you watch it just like generally degrade from like 99 on, it was just like, it's not my safe space anymore.
No. Yeah, that sucks.
It happens with all media. I mean, you could be a fan of a certain version of something
Yeah.
and then just not care about the rest of it. I mean, I'm the same way with Star Trek and anything else that there's a legacy franchise. Just sometimes it's just not for you anymore, and it's okay to just say that.
You know,
But then to go after people for having the wrong
right.
opinion about it is just ludicrous.
You're wrong because you feel that way about that thing. I feel a different way about that thing. Let's fight. Like,
I'm sure you guys get that on Channel Awesome all the time
oh,
because
totally.
it's not like your opinions on everything are always the same about every film that's come
Oh,
out.
absolutely. Yeah, that's just the uh I'm trying to find the right words. That's just how it is. Like that's the nature
Mm-hmm.
of the business being an online critic because your audience kind of reflects what you are and everybody that watches you is kind of critical or analytical and they want to kind of compare and contrast their opinions with yours and sometimes they don't align and a lot of them might get super up in a huff about it and you know a lot of them feel a little entitled about it too like they're it's fine you can be entitled about your opinion we don't have to fight.
Yeah, when we posted our review of the new Anne of Green Gables series that came out on Netflix, my wife didn't like it because she really likes the books and the Megan Follows series that came out in the 80s or 90s, and basically it was just her saying she didn't like it, and the number of comments I had to delete because they were so venomous and some of them were outright threats was astounding
mm.
over a review of a story about a redheaded girl that goes to live with a family.
Yeah.
Just because she didn't like it, there was just like there were death threats and rape threats.
Jeez.
And I was just like, wow, I've never had to actually delete comments on our channel before, but I was like, this is just no.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. This is just it's just an opinion.
Right. Right. Man. And that's the internet for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen much worse on other channels over minute things. I've seen the same kind of comments on videos that you've been on with Channel Awesome. It's just
Uh-huh.
that not having to have your name associated with something gives people so much power,
Oh,
which is why I'm brave enough to have my full name attached to everything I ever say.
yeah.
Because I don't, if you don't like my opinion, or if I'm wrong, I'm still gonna stand behind my words. I might admit I was wrong, but I'm not gonna hide.
Right. Yeah, I haven't hidden like I've gotten a string of like unfortunate comments. Like, man, yeah, oh man, like one stands out. It's so ridiculous. Like what things people are willing to say when they're behind a keyboard, but like you just kind of like gotta dismiss them, just kind of be like scoot, you know, because people get really really emboldened when they see something that they can just kind of hop on and just like take off with. Like they try to I'm going to be clever in this sentence, and they just come off as a douche.
It seems Twitter's the place for that.
Yeah, like especially in mentions, like you can just kind of hop in, and it's like, who are you? No one invited you to this, like this conversation.
That's why I don't if unless I can back up what I'm saying. If it's an opinion, I might have the wrong opinion, but I always try to back up what I'm saying with something to link
Yeah,
to. But
like some frame of reference, something factual, something that
if I just jump on drama to jump on it and just a shit post, that's just for blowing off steam,
right.
or just to see how agitated someone can get when they are being completely belligerent, and then you throw an opinion in there that completely contradicts theirs, and just seeing how frustrated they
Oh
get.
yeah, oh yeah, oh my gosh. Oh.
um, yeah.
Good stuff.
So, as far as the people you work with on a daily basis at Channel Awesome, you're how you bounce ideas off of one another. How does that process go into making an episode work really well?
Okay, well, after like Doug and Rob, they do the initial viewing and writing. Me and Tamara as the actors, we have an option to view the movie that we're reviewing at the time. Like it's optional, like we don't need to, but it helps to have a frame of reference again. And so, we'll get together. That's when the real collaboration starts. It's on set. We get together and, we'll start, going through a script and, we'll like kind of read through it first and then, we'll start acting it out. And at that point, sometimes like if we have a good understanding of the scene, we'll kind of end up riffing or just like, uh, you know, improving. And 9 times out of 10, like Doug will just add that into the script because he's like, what, I didn't think of that. Or, man, that was really funny. Let's put that in there. And, like the script continues to evolve like all the way through production. It's really fun.
So having that level of interaction with one another makes the job easier and also provides better content.
Oh, absolutely. And like Doug, he's so willing to open up to, other suggestions. He'll even like ask us like, "Hey, is this okay? Is there a funnier way we can say this?" Or, if it's like addressing something that he doesn't really have the perspective of, he'll refer to me or Tamara, like, is this joke, pushing it or is this okay? And, we'll be like, yeah, like we'll warn them, like, yeah, some people might react a certain way about it, but, like that joke, is okay. It's not like we are the, voice of the female and, black people, it's not like we're the spokespeople, but, he does refer to us just to see, our opinion on it.
Oh, you're not the end all be all opinions on racial and gender
I
matters. Is that what you're
represent
saying?
every black person ever that has ever existed and that ever will
I knew it.
exist. So,
Why does every black person always tell me the same thing? Damn it. God, it's like you're all a hive mind.
exactly. That's what we are. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll start to wrap up my questions here. For those people that are looking to get into the industry, what would be your advice to those people?
That want to go into like acting and entertainment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, love it. Make sure it's something that you absolutely want to do, that you can do with or without getting paid. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's just something that you will do and you'll just have fun with it. Like think of it as like playtime. like when you're a kid and you got to like, play with like some new toy or, make pretend, just have a passion for it, and if you do want to turn it into a career, be smart about it, make sure that you are, studied in your specific course of expertise because you don't want to just go in there, you know, you might have like a natural knack for it, a natural inclination to it, but it is good to like supplement that natural skill with, some know-how, some book knowledge, some book smarts.
And for people that want to find out more about you and the projects you're working on, what handles and websites can they go to?
You can follow me at Malcolm the Ray. That's MalcolmTheray on Twitter. And from there, you will see like I post frequently about projects that I'm working on. And then on occasion, I'll post like, funny tweets and memes. But for the most part, I have a link to my agency, my talent agent. It has a demo on there, and yeah, like follow me there, and you will see. I post all the time.